morning. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 177th episode of Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga. Today we have a very exciting topic, and it's going to be a lot of fireworks today, as we have two extra guests that are going to participate in this dhamaka. So today, what we have today is the issues for BJP that need to be, for the 2024 elections. What are the issues that are facing Egypt, right? So it's going to be an exciting topic today. So I'm just going to hand it over to Dr. Swamy, and we have a panel, Sree, Iyer from P. Gruz and Gopikrishnan. Nobody needs introduction to these folks. So I'm just going to hand it over to Dr. Swamy for the initial introduction, and then the three of them will talk for a while, and then Arvind and I will jump in later. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Swamy.
Thank you, Ramesh. It is, as you said, a very important topic. But the issues are so many, and I think we may have to have 3-4 sessions on this.
Definitely.
Because all the issues cannot be packed in today.
Correct. We can do it one more session, Doctor. And we can split it into two.
Yeah. But let me say, the subject to what my other associates in this program for this particular program, Gopi and Sree Iyer, whether they have a different opinion or not, I don't know. But I would say the economy requires item number one, because I have seen over and over again, it cannot, if the economy is bad, nothing can be good for politics. Vajpayee, when he was talking about India shining, there are a lot of people believe that India was shining. And they at once, as a lot of people, means I am not saying a big majority or anything, but there are people who said it. And what happened? Mr. Vajpayee's share, the BJP had got 182 seats I'm not talking about the coalition, I'm talking about BJP's share, 182 seats. But when the results came out they had got 182 seats in 1999. And when in 2004 the results came out, they had fallen to 116. And this when they were saying India shining. And Vajpayee was so convinced about India shining that he advanced the elections by 6 months. And held it in May, which is now what we are having since then every 5 years. But otherwise it was in September or October. And he advanced it because he was sure that in that particular climate, if they went to elections, they would win hands down and they get an absolute majority. They got nothing of the kind. So I'm saying today that, we have to pick and choose to see what are the priorities. There may be many issues, but in these issues, we have to pick some priorities. I would say the priorities would be economy, then corruption, then China, like that, and black money, so many other things. So I would say that perhaps I will deal with the economy in a brief way, and then perhaps Gopi, if it's okay with him, he can choose what he wants to do. But I would say Gopi is known everywhere as James Bond, so he must address himself on corruption to some extent, why we haven't proceeded to send anybody to jail, what is blocking it, who's blocking it, etc. And then the larger issue of black money, international factors, that no one could be better than, in my opinion, than Sree Iyer. But of course, Sree Iyer can speak anything that he wants, but this is what I think are today's important things. Now, let me say, first of all, that we, when you talk of the economy, must notice one thing. There's complete propaganda for the last 8 years that the economy is doing very well. Now, when you go back and they talk about projections, next year it's going to be 8%. Amit Shah said 8.2%. Then over the quarters, they kept on reducing it. Now they're saying it's going to be less than 6%. And I don't think it's going to be even 6%. It'll be lower than that. Go back in history, when they were talking about all wonderful things that were happening to the economy, the growth rate started declining from 2015-16. And it went down, down, down till just before the corona. There was one quarter, and that is January 1 to March 31st of 2020. That is just about the time, March 30th was about the time when the corona hit India. So that quarter was not corona affected, January 1 to March 30, 2020. In that, the growth rate was, compared to the previous year, that is on a yearly basis, 3.1%, lower than Jawaharlal Nehru's 3.5%. And so, which Jawaharlal Nehru himself had called it the Hindu rate of growth, because it's going slow, slow, slow. But this is much more. This is, I don't know what the growth rate it is, Narendra Modi's growth rate or Muslim growth rate or whatever, but 3.1%. And after that, if you consider the last normal period with the last quarter of for which we have data, again we are in 3%. They say 8%, 6%, this, that. But actually, these are all recoveries after a steep fall. The first year, our GDP growth rate went down to minus 29%. So, therefore, to recover that, we haven't still been able to do it. We have still not reached the stage where we enter. So, first and foremost is, how does this affect the public? There's unemployment is increased, and there's shortage of goods, so there's inflation is also increased. This is the first time after it's a rare combination of unemployment increasing and prices rising at the same time, but it's happened, and that's because both demand and supply are being negatively affected. Prices have risen. Petrol prices is an example of it. And that means demand will go down because of those prices going down. There is no policy which is directed for demand, because the people in finance ministry don't know economics, and they don't matter also, because it's all decided in the PMO, where there are large numbers of people who may have got a degree from Meerut University or something, but they don't seem to know any economics. And Prime Minister, of course, doesn't know economics when he said, I will give you $5 trillion in 5 years, which means a growth rate of 15% per year. How can you have 15% per year? I would love it if India can grow at 15% per year. But at that time, we were growing at minus because of the corona. He said it in 2019. So, first point I would like to say is, the issue that needs to be settled is this coming year 2023 to April 1, 2023 to March 30, 2024. In that period, even though it may be just about a little before the elections of 2024, but that 1 year, we must achieve an 8% growth rate, for which the right policies must be followed. If you ask me, can we achieve 8%? Of course we can achieve. We can even achieve 10% growth rate. But it requires a different kind of policy. What kind of policy? It's a very big thing. But if you read my book, Reset, I have given you the methodology by which you can grow at 10% per year. So, first point I would like to say is that we have to, before we go to the elections, and growth rate of at least 6 to 7%, if not 8%, ideally 10%, Is it possible? In my opinion, it is possible. Second thing is, we have to, growth should translate itself into where it matters. Small and medium industries produce the maximum employment for the poor people of India, lower middle class, and so on. And they have suffered enormously because you had an idiot for Reserve Bank governor called Raghunath Singh. What was his name?
Raghuram Rajan.
Rajan.
Raghu Rajan something. So R3 we used to call him. He came with an agenda, it appears to me, because everything he did was to break the small and medium industry so that big industries can come in its place. And many of these small industries wound up. Their work was then taken over by big companies, which then subcontracted that. So we have to do that. And for that, what you have to do, you have to lower the interest rate. You know, the if you go to an American bank here, there are two Americans, people who are sitting there, who are they are Americanized people. They will tell you that if you go to a bank in America and take a loan, maximum you will be charged 2%. And this is the and there are banks which want to promote their thing. They give it to you for 0% also for a limited period. So, but in India, the prime lending rate set by the Reserve Bank is 12%. And imagine when the rate of return is 6%, 7%, how can you go and take a loan which is for 12%? So in it, so all the black money, all these things then start coming in, because you go to a bank. This is what happens. You are in a minus. So my view is that lower the interest rate, and because the money that people are earning is in large amounts are now being diverted into the black market through the avoidance of taxes, abolish income tax. People say, how can you abolish income tax? We have abolished it for agricultural incomes. We have abolished income tax for those who are below the poverty line. And those rich guys, they have chartered accountants, and they can, give exemptions and expenses and this and that, and their rate of income tax will come down very sharply. It's this middle class, these young people who come to build, IT cells, this, and they are the ones who suffer, and they get harassed by the income tax people, who say that we won't settle unless you give us our bribe. It's an open thing. It's not even this thing. So my view is lower the rate of interest to 6%, not 12%. Raise the rate at which you put your money in fixed deposit. The middle class puts it in fixed. Raise that to 9% from the present 6%. 9%. And abolish income tax. So these are the things that has to be done. Otherwise, there's no hope. I'm telling you. Nobody, the economy on the market and all. They are not impressed by Modi's personality. So there's not going to be any effect on that. So only thing that can be done is this, and nobody in the Niti Aayog or in the finance ministry has drawn these because they're too scared to say it. And rich, by the way, have de facto zero income tax because they don't pay, and they know how to do it, how to write all these expenses, this, that, catch hold of the right people, and do it. So this is the now. Third is, please don't, in this 1 year coming, get into all this thing like demonetization, GST, GST is still a failure. It hasn't been solved. The problem hasn't been solved. How can it be? You have the central government has taken over the entire indirect taxes, which was done by the states, and they don't have the manpower. Everything is in delay. And it's become a joke. GST has become a joke. Scrap GST. Scrap income tax, GST. And then, and of course, I said lower interest rates for loans and raise the interest rates that people deposit in fixed deposit 5 years. I'm not talking about anything which you deposit in the bank. No. I'm talking about if you deposit for 5 years. Then you get a change in the economy. So before I hand over to my colleagues here, let me also say another issue is going to be China, because Mr. Modi has bluffed the Indian people by telling them koi aaya nahi, koi gaya nahi. They have aaya, they have come, only we have not gone gaya there. Except that one way, some of our people went, they were arrested and taken to China. So China has got a plan. They want to eliminate India as a possible rival. The only way they can do, which they succeeded for at least 2 decades after 1962, is to destroy the Indian reputation that these chaps are. And the way we have been keeping the truth from the people, the whole world knows that there is a special reason which has got nothing to do with strategy. It's nothing to do with some planning. It is something else which is, I can't say it in this program, which is making Mr. Modi not disclose that the Chinese have come and gobbled up Depsang and Galwan. Galwan, we fought, threw the Chinese down. Now they have all come back and they've captured Galwan because we withdrew. Why did we withdraw? Because Jaishankar had a deal saying for bringing peace. What peace? Peace of the grave. India can't have the peace of the grave. So China, if there is a big thing and it becomes an international news, public will turn against BJP. Because BJP has a reputation of being macho, and it turns out that we are pussycats. So therefore, these are the 2 things I would highlight as the most important. And I leave it to my 2 colleagues to tell me whether I've overstated the thing or they have some other view to agree with me. Over to...
Sree Iyer. I'll bring Sree Iyer first. You want to bring Gopi first?
Yeah, no, whoever wants to come first.
Okay. So, toss up between you guys now, Sree and Gopi. Okay, I'll bring Sree in. Okay,
shall I start?
Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead, Gopi. Gopi, go ahead.
Nice, after a long time, you people have invited me to this Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom show. And Dr. Swamy has rightly said that about the current BJP's government's problems are basically, it is economy. Then he's said about this Chinese non-action against Chinese infiltration and keeping silence about it. And as far as he's talk about the economy, the growth of the economy is also connected with the government's fight against corruption.
Yeah.
The growth of the economy basically, because you remember Dr. Swamy and we all started this 2G scam exposes, and Dr. Swamy went to the court, and there the Supreme Court has passed a law, passed a judgment not only cancelling the licenses. Supreme Court also said that natural resources should be auctioned. UPA government went for presidential reference, and presidential reference under then Chief Justice Kapadia also said that auction, and it tightened it. Now the 2G spectrum auction, the government of India from 2010 onwards auction started, and government has got 6.5 lakh crore.
Yeah.
6.5 lakh crore. And same it started in the coal allocation. But unfortunately, only Prime Minister in his speech and basically during election period speak about corruption and attack against corruption and other things. The problem is in India we are seeing and raids, arrest notice or calling for the probe. Then there is one thing is missing, that is prosecution and trial. It is totally lagged from 2014 onwards. And basically now we are seeing ED going and other things is basically against on a political enmity. It goes to the non-BJP government states. Like Shiva Sena was split only due to credit goes to Enforcement Directorate's actions, and the corrupt politicians has to go to the ruling side and keep quiet. That happened in so many areas. But as far as basic corruption cases, let us talk about the status of 2G scam appeal. 2017, there was a bad judgment. This was the first time a trial court judge writing against the spirit of the Supreme Court judgment on the same case. And CBI and ED promptly went to the appeal on 2018 March. Now it is going to be 5th year and 65 hearings has took place and nothing happened. The case has not even crossed the basic stage of appeal of leave to grant appeal. And in this case, the chief prosecutor is none other than the Solicitor General of India, who has also appointed a special prosecutor, SPP, and nothing happened. And I hardly seen him in the 2G scam appeal cases in the High Court. Why it is delaying? What kind of messages this government is going to give to the judiciary on its fight against corruption? Arrest and then bail. And there are so much delays are happening. And as far as call scam cases, a former CBI director was telling me, this call scam case charge sheets only goes to bureaucrat levels. India's biggest corporates who were involved in the call scam, Tata, Anil Ambani, Jindal, and the Birla, these groups, CBI has not touched. Recently only, CBI 2012 Supreme Court judgment passed on 2012. Recently, 1 week ago, CBI is going to charge sheet RPG group of Kolkata. And that charge sheet also, it all limits to small manager level or general manager level officers. So, and this government, Narendra Modi government, that time under the influence of Arun Jaitley, 2018 diluted the India's Prevention of Corruption Act. Now CBI is a toothless tiger. CBI even cannot, and Narendra Modi is always talking about removing archaic laws, ease of doing business, this and that. But CBI is based on an old 1946 Act, Delhi Special Police and Delhi Police Special Establishment Act. And there is a rule somehow, state's clearance. What is the state? CBI cannot go and take into state government officials. This state clearance, this is an archaic provision. CBI wanted to go to a state where action against central government officer also, you need that state government's general clearance. Now what is happening is 9 states have withdrawn CBI's general clearance. CBI cannot go to Telangana, CBI cannot go to a central government's officers corruption in Telangana. That kind of, why these rules are not changing? Only thing was ED Act is the strong thing. Now the joke is ED was actually UN money laundering convention. After that, India was forced to. India delayed it, and it passed by Chidambaram's tenure. And Jock is now Chidambaram is telling the court this is a barbaric act. He himself have passed this law, and now he is telling. And look at the cases of corruption against black money. This government's first cabinet decision was to form a black money commission. And where is the black money commission? That two judges and that office, nobody knew. And recently I heard there was a frivolous complaint against one of the black money commission, Judge Arijit Pasayat, for some income tax return. Who did it? So somebody didn't like the action of a black money commission, that judge. And it happened in 2018. 2018, income tax has some problem in the annual return filed by a black money commission judge. Why they look into a black money commission judge's income tax return? So somebody from government, otherwise no income tax commissioner will dare to do that. Somebody from government don't like the activities of black money commission also. That's why are you looking into that judge has not declared his arbitration money he got in 2018? Why are you looking into your own commission, black money commission judge? Because you wanted to malign him, you wanted to demoralize him. This kind of, and he paid the money, and he said that okay, you take it. Somehow if you consider 70-year-old man's arbitration money is also arbitration fees also wanted to be taxed, you tax it. And and the news was planted also. And Justice Arijit Pasayat's. So everywhere this government's Modi government talking about black corruption, anti-corruption is based only on the platform speeches, Maidan speeches, and Prime Minister saying that, but nothing. Look at the cases of Chidambaram, how it got delayed. And National Herald, Dr. Swamy, you filed in court was issued in 2014, June issued summons. Up to 2018, ED was not allowed to act.
Yes.
and 2017 December, some strong income tax officers put 414 crore tax evasion of young Indian. Every court, Sonia and Rahul failed. 2019 November, they got a simple stay on the first day of hearing, which everybody will get no coercive action till the final verdict. After that, no date is. Where are the prosecutors?
Yeah.
And
I may add one thing more.
Yeah.
That every time I ask for documents, the government refused to give me the documents. I mean, I am a member of the ruling party, and these are public documents. But when I present it in court, I have to authenticate it. So I said, if the government gives it to me, the authentication problem is over. For that, I have to go to court, and that's the delay due to.
Yeah. And now let us see. ED has questioned. That was one of the rarest, boldest things during this government time happened. Calling Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, summoning them in the ED office, and they have seen Congress tantrums. And we don't know when will they charge sheet, which should have been useful to your case also if they have charge sheeted them.
That's right.
When they can do it? How many days they needed? 6 months, 7 months, and now 2001 hardly 1 plus 1 year and some few months, 1.5 years is pending before the election. And what happened in India some 3-4 months before an election, the bureaucracy will keep idle. They don't want to antagonize anybody. They will also wait for the results. And even I may go practically sometimes courts also. They won't also give harsh judgments before 2-3 months before the elections. So we have seen this is the system of India. What I say and I conclude is Narendra Modi government's fight. There is no fight against corruption is going on. It is tardy, it is slow, and unfortunately, at least the ongoing cases, the prosecution, especially the prosecution part of these cases, are so bad. so bad. Our law officers are not at all good. One day, this Friday, in Supreme Court, that Naxal leaders house arrest issue, Solicitor General was could not make a difference between CPI and CPM. He was telling the judge, sir, he is staying in the Communist Party's library nearby home. And the judge was saying it's a registered political party. So it was actually CPM. So these and to the current team, legal team, what I found is so many BJP supporting lawyers also now started withdrawing, and they also started taking the reverse cases. They also started taking the reverse cases against the government. So it is a totally not a strong department, and it is very bad. And only on the election time, PM will say all these things, and black money cases and others. Nothing has happened, and even our black money law was not written properly. Yes. And still, everybody has challenged the law on a particular point. Our law was passed in 2015. So, as per the person's petitions, in case of Karti Chidambaram, in case of Anil Ambani, they are saying these are the funds and transactions in foreign accounts in 2012 and 13, but your law came in 2015 only. So how will you charge us? How will you send us notices? So legal drafting is also very bad. Look at our Citizenship Amendment Act. What is Amit Shah doing? 2019 Act was passed with much brouhaha, and you have not passed the basic rules of the Act, and you have asked 7th time extension. This December end, that 7th extension is 3 years you need. All these things. So these are the conviction and courage of conviction, and the precision in acting is lacking from this government. Whether I don't know. And as far as 2G appeal, why they're delaying? 2018 submitted appeal. Why delayed? These are all the questions. I think they have to answer all these things.
Well, when Rajnath was the Home Minister, he sent a notice to Rahul Gandhi to explain my documents that he was a British citizen also, and therefore disqualified under the Indian Constitution to be an Indian citizen.
Yeah.
And to date, Rahul Gandhi has not replied.
And it is a self-declared. It is not somebody found.
Yes, right. It is his own signature. Because he was.
And it is self-declared, and credit goes to our Ramesh. He actually found it from the British registry.
Yes, that's right. The British Ramesh did it. I didn't want to get him into trouble, so therefore I didn't mention it.
No, he won't be.
But see,
it's an open secret, Dr. Swamy.
Who is to ask Mr. Rahul Gandhi, did you sign this or not? And then have the signature checked. And he's out. He's no more citizen of India. But Mr. Amit Shah refuses to send him the follow-up to Mr. Rajnath's notice.
And Dr. Swamy, I came to know Rahul's reply was so evasive. He says, I think those days it was written by Kapil Sibal, drafted by Kapil Sibal, to Parliament as well as MHA. Rahul's reply was, nobody can doubt his Indianness. Nobody can doubt his Indianness. That is the kind. It is for it is his own certificate. He has to say this is signed by you. Like his, I think one day Jagdish ji went to London and get his Barclays Bank account.
Yes.
The name of Raul Mincy.
Yes.
And it is a clear case of Black Money Act.
Yes.
I think there is a thinking in BJP level saying that let Rahul Gandhi continue. It is good for us. This is the awkward things that
Vajpayee thought about Sonia Gandhi.
Yeah.
And if she is the leader of the Congress party, he will have an easy time. And he lost and she came to power. Sorry for interrupting you. But
And sir, as you earlier you spoke about the economy, let me say one point, not the corruption part, the price rise, sir. It is not manageable for a common man. The price rise is going on, and common salaried people, it is a very tedious for the life in India. Their savings are lost, and there is a lot of unemployment going on in India, and salaries cut during the COVID, illegally cut during the COVID, has not reback. And so these problems, I don't know how this government will going to tackle. And I'll tell you a small, I am ending. In Delhi, yesterday only the Delhi government's power subsidy registration scheme ended. In Delhi has 60 lakh power consumers. 60 lakh means around 3 crore. One subscriber means 4 or 5 people. 60 lakh consumers are in Delhi, but 37 lakh applied for subsidy in Delhi capital. So this shows this is an alarming thing. BJP is still ridiculing freebies, this, that. And another thing, sir, during COVID, Government of India, they have done it good. During COVID, Government of India come out with a free rations scheme, which is still continuing. 80 crore, according to government's press relation bureau's press release, 80 crore people. India is 137 or 139 crore people, but 80 crore people are the subscribers of free ration. So what you said, this economy, the poverty, unemployment, and the price rise is affecting only the people in the stock market. And this Indian stock market is a nonsense. During COVID, when lockdown happened, Bombay Sensex was 32,000. And during lockdown, when nothing is working, India's stock market crossed 58. So it is P-notes, black money, all these things, and this government also enjoys. What I found is the same P-note. Earlier it was blessed by Chidambaram. Now it is blessed by someone powerful in this government. It is there, and it's not a good picture. So I hand over to you, sir.
Gopi, so when you said P-notes, somebody powerful in this government, so you're not mentioning the finance minister. So I'm obviously inferring something from that. Anyway, with that,
we should be to the ladies.
Yeah, no, only inference is that she's nowhere in the picture except to sign the file.
Yeah. Okay. With that, I'm going to switching to Sree Iyer.
Always a pleasure to be on VHS platforms, and I'd like to start by sharing one graphic with your permission. You've already got it up there. So I'm just going to look at, this is per capita GDP of India. And if when Narendra Modi took office, that is 2014, it was 1.57K, that is $1,570 per person. And now it is at 2021, 2.28. So approximately the change is about 0.7 dollars per capita, and this works out to a growth of, because I'm looking at 7 years, so you're looking at a growth of perhaps 5% or so, 5% year over year. So I'm looking at the entire Modi period. How long? How has the per capita income risen for average Indian? Now this is the
question. I have a question. Is this in current prices or constant prices?
This is a nominal GDP compared to the
nominal means you haven't divided it by the price rise. You see. So this is that would be even worse than what you're showing.
Yeah, so I'm just agreeing with you, sir. I mean, there are if I do the division, it's only like 5% growth every year over year. The economy I'm looking at from numbers point of view, We have done a growth of 5% year over year. Now, the challenge before Modi government, in my opinion, is not corruption. It is not China, but internal security. I believe, and I could be wrong about this, that India is unable to keep the flock together as a country. That this internal security has taken the front and center in terms of trying to just keep things to a point where the government is completely consumed, just making sure that things don't go out of control. I'll give you an example, Dr. Swamy. Look at what happened in Coimbatore. That Coimbatore terror blast, that happened after 10 days after the PFI rank and the top leadership has all been taken in. And they wanted to show that nothing changed. And it is, divine luck that this thing went off and only one person died. The plan was to attack like 7 different places, 7 different temples on Diwali day. So, and yesterday, Mangaluru, another accident. So my point I'm trying to say, sir, is there are only so many problems to deal with in a given period of time. And I think the government is consumed by just trying to make sure that internally the country is secure. See, if you're not together as a country, then the other things become a little bit of of course China is intruding on one side. You have the problem of corruption. People are still continuing to do it. I think there are ways in which this government has tackled it. Whether we agree with their method or not, that is a point for a different time. But if you look at elections, winning elections, I think Modi and Amit Shah know exactly how to win elections. You may agree or disagree with the methods they use, but they know how to win elections. And he has complained once that I am always in election mode because there's always some state or the other going to elections.
Now, in that case, they have to give some credit to Rahul Gandhi, who has messed up the Punjab, who has messed up the Uttarakhand, who has messed up the Goa. Recent elections, Captain Amarinder was in full form, and this family changed him. And Uttarakhand BJP has 3 chief ministers, and people were against them. And there also he unsettled the chief ministerial cabinet. And in Goa, also the same problem. Yesterday I saw some Chidambaram's interview. What happened in Goa? So it is like that only. There you have to give the credit to. Modi and Amit Shah can give credit to Rahul. And look, what is he doing? He's doing Rahul that Bharat Jodo Yatra when the 2 states are going election. He has not even come to Himachal campaign. And when is he going to Gujarat campaign? He is just walking with some communists, some activists, some leftists, and that's it.
Gopi, he's the 3rd most impactful campaigner for BJP. Many people say this. So, and so why should Modi arrest him? Why should he just give him, make him into a martyr? I mean, India has this thing. This is our culture, dharmic thing.
One minute. Who advises him, Rahul? You are in Maharashtra, Maratha heartland. You are criticizing Savarkar. Even Shiva Sena has to. So this is who is advising. These are because I think so, some old JNU guys are in his secretariat, and this Jairam Ramesh and pro-left, pro-Soviet guys are still giving him this thing. He is not.
Let him finish.
Let me finish. I was going to say, Gopi jumped in. You're eating my time. Let me finish. So. Yeah. Dr. Swamy and viewers, my concern is law and order. I think that is the biggest concern. That's what is the thing that I think this government hasn't done up to the mark. Because if the center doesn't act in a decisive manner, it cannot tell the states to act in a decisive manner. Whether it was the Delhi riots or the Shaheen Bagh or the farmers' agitation, where you have to, this is all Amit Shah, this is center. They needed to set the reference saying that, look, you have to do these things right. This is how the law of the country will be followed. Instead of allowing some miscreants to climb up the Red Fort and plant a flag and then acting, Dr. Swamy, about 40 or 50 policemen died. I mean, not died, but they had broken legs and things like that because they were forced to jump into a moat. in the Red Fort area when they were
Yes.
trying to contain the crowd. See, why let the crowd come that far? See, and so my concern is that on the one side, this government listens way too much to how New York Post and New York Times writes and Washington Post writes. And it is our job. We are doing it. We are telling the lies. We are bringing them out. The Indian diaspora in United States and United Kingdom is no longer quiet. Thanks to Pandit Satish Kumar Sharma there, myself and Rajiv Malhotra and a few others in the United States. We are bringing them. We are holding them to responsibility. That we are saying, look, these are all lies and so on and so forth. So this government needlessly gives too much credence to what the West thinks and what especially the Western media thinks. It's got a problem on its hands. Let it deal with that. And what are we seeing about all these cases where they have taken so many people into custody, the Hindu women being cut up and then fed to the wolves and things like that? It's so ghastly. What about all the people who were arrested for the series of murders that took place when Nupur Sharma's TV program was happening? After that, the Kanhaiya Lal and all those people, why can't those people be given swift sentences? Dr. Swamy, in my opinion, this government needs to completely close all madrasas and then start from, okay, if you want a madrasa open, these are the rules that have to be followed. Just like the way Italian Prime Minister has done in Italy. There is, in fact, India should have jumped on it right away and done it right then and there. Why I say this, sir, is many are growing up with the thing that it is right to hate the kafirs. It is right to kill the kafirs. You can't have 200 crore people sitting around you thinking this is what I'm going to think. I think this is the biggest problem, and I don't know why they are not acting on this, sir. I have said time and again that this is a huge problem. After the book came out, Who Painted My Money White, it's now out in the open. There is a lot of money flowing around. So today I'll give you some facts. The 2,000 rupee note, I don't think the Reserve Bank is printing it. So basically they have demonetized it in a way that is quietly, just taking it out of currency. If the circulation is, whenever no new notes are being printed, my opinion. Because you go to an ATM or you go to a bank, even if you withdraw 1 lakh cash, you only get 500s and 200s and so on and so forth. So the government is aware that this 2,000 rupees have to go. Now, what is happening, this is what I've heard from people, that now instead of smuggling in fake currency, gold is being smuggled in with connivance with customs officials. I believe 100 customs officials were transferred in Kerala airport. There are 4 international airports in Kerala. And then there is one in Mangaluru, which is just across the border. And there is Coimbatore, which is also just across the border. And you go there on the Gulf flights. Oh my God, the crowd that comes to these things it's scary. And this is a well-oiled system. Now they are smuggling gold. And when they give the gold to the jewelry shops where the actual retail jewelry is made, they all insist that they be paid in 2,000 rupee notes. So you see the cycle going here. There is a play, there's a counterplay going on and on and on and on. So in my opinion, India is being destabilized from within by our own people. And it is being destabilized from outside also by our own people. If a certain Ajanta Subramaniam writes about the IITs sitting in Harvard and Harvard publishes it, who's Ajanta Subramaniam? This person grew up in India, ate, breathed and drank the same water that you and I do. So why, we are being weaponized against ourselves. We need to understand that. Anyway, long story short, what I'm trying to say is, yes, the Modi government can do a lot better, but I believe that its biggest problem is this. I think security for the people living inside India, if they can have that assurance that, look, we have taken care of this, that's all that matters more than anything else. And especially, I am very concerned about what is happening in madrasas.
Okay. Well, over to Ramesh.
Yeah, Arvind, I don't know. Oh, there is Arvind ji. आप शुरू कीजिए. Unmute कीजिए, please. Unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Gopikrishnan and Sree Iyer ji. ये आज का जो एपिसोड है हमारा केंद्रित होना था कि 2024 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी जब चुनाव में जाएगी उसके समक्ष मुद्दे क्या होने चाहिए। और डॉक्टर स्वामी ने बिल्कुल प्रारंभ में कह दिया था कि हमारी एक प्रायोरिटी है, उस प्रायोरिटी में इकोनॉमी आती है, करप्शन आता है, ब्लैक मनी आती है, उसके बाद दूसरे इश्यू आते हैं इंटरनेशनल फैक्टर। बट डॉक्टर स्वामी ने हिंदुत्व का नाम नहीं लिया। और शायद हमें लगता है कि जैसा डॉक्टर स्वामी ने कहा था कि एक एपिसोड इन सारी समस्याओं को, सारे मुद्दों को बहस करने के लिए काफी नहीं होगा। हम जरूर आगे बात करेंगे। बहुत से मुद्दे ऐसे हैं जिस पे हम आज चर्चा शायद समय के अभाव के कारण नहीं कर पाएंगे। लेकिन तीन बातें मैं कहना चाहता हूं, खासतौर से इकोनॉमी को लेकर। पहली बात तो यह है कि इकोनॉमी के जो आंकड़े डॉक्टर स्वामी ने ग्रोथ के दिए, श्री अय्यर जी ने जरूर पर कैपिटा इनकम की बात की, और वो भी करंट प्राइसेस में। अगर हम उसको कांस्टेंट प्राइसेस में, जैसे डॉक्टर स्वामी ने बताया, अगर हम उसको कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो ये ग्रोथ बहुत कम है। और चूंकि ये ग्रोथ बहुत कम है, मेरा एक आरोप है सरकार के ऊपर कि सरकार सांख्यिकी के आंकड़े प्रकाशित नहीं कर रही। जनता के सामने जो स्टैटिस्टिक्स आने चाहिए वो नहीं आ रहे। आप अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट को ले लें, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का रेट ऑफिशियल कोई रेट नहीं आ रहा सरकार की तरफ से। सरकार के सारे जो आंकड़े अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के आने चाहिए उन पर रोक लगा दी गई है। अनाधिकारित रूप से जो सेंटर फॉर मॉनिटरिंग ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी है, जो प्राइवेट संस्था है, उसने बताया है कि अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट अक्टूबर के महीने में 8% थी, 7.8%, which is even more than the last month. That means every month the rate of unemployment is increasing, and that too is coming from a private research institution. It is not coming from the government. Number two, since 2019, this government is not publishing data related to expenditures. Every 5 years there is a survey which is conducted by CSO or its allied organization, and they publish it, which actually used जो गरीबी के आंकड़े निकालने के लिए उसका इस्तेमाल होता है। कोई भी डेटा नहीं आ रहा। कितने साल हो गए अनधिकृत रूप से जो आंकड़े बाहर छन के आ रहे हैं, जो बाहर लीक हो रहे हैं, वो बताते हैं कि गरीबी कितनी बड़ी है। अभी हमारे पत्रकार बंधु गोपीकृष्णन जी ने बताया था कि 80 करोड़ लोगों को 2020 से मार्च 2020 से अंडर प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण योजना द फूड इज बीइंग सर्व्ड। पहले 5 किलो राशन देते थे, फिर आधा किलो दाल देते थे, और 4 लाख करोड़। इस योजना में अभी तक 4 लाख करोड़ रुपए खर्च हो चुके हैं, और इसमें वो राशि शामिल नहीं है जो मनरेगा के लिए 1,10,000 करोड़ प्रति वर्ष अलग से दी जा रही है। मतलब आप गरीबी का अंदाजा नहीं लगा सकते इस मुल्क में कितनी है। और सरकार एक तरफ तो कहती है कि हमारी इतनी प्रगति हो गई, ये आंकड़े, सरकार झूठे आंकड़े पेश कर रही है। मेरा आरोप है कि जो 80 करोड़ का जो हिसाब है, इस हिसाब को एक वाइट पेपर सरकार इश्यू करे कि कौन से 80 करोड़ लोग हैं जो गरीबों के नाम पे खाना खा रहे हैं, और 4 लाख करोड़ रुपए डकार गए हैं वो 2 साल के अंदर। और मेरा मानना है कि मोदी जी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने चुनाव को बचाने के लिए संभवतः 2024 तक ये फ्री राशन चालू रखेंगे, क्योंकि एक तरफ तो वो कोर्ट में जाते हैं और कहते हैं कि फ्री रेवड़ी जो बांट रहे हैं उन पर रोक लगाई जाए, दूसरी तरफ 4 लाख करोड़ रुपया खर्च हो चुका है सरकार का फ्री आंकड़े के ऊपर। गोपी ने बहुत वाजिब सवाल उठाया, और मैंने भी पिछली बार जब इस पे इकोनॉमी पे बहस हो रही थी, I also raised the same question. I said, if there are 140 crore people in country and you're saying that poverty is under control, where is poverty under control? 80 crore people are receiving that allowance, free ration. And what about Manrega? 202 rupees. 202 rupees per day is the wages given to the people in Manrega. Whereas in Delhi alone, if I give you an example, the per day the minimum wages is more than 1,800 rupees. Sorry, 800 rupees. Now 800 रुपए, हालांकि कई प्रदेशों में ऐसा नहीं है, बट अगर आप मिनिमम वेजेस की बात करें और जो हम मनरेगा में दे रहे हैं, इट इज ए पीनट, और वो परिवार में एक आदमी को मिलता है, साल में 100 दिन के लिए मिलता है। 100 दिन के लिए 202 रुपए देने से आप किसी परिवार की गरीबी को नहीं छुपा सकते, उसको गरीबी की रेखा के ऊपर नहीं ला सकते, जबकि उल्टा हो रहा है। लास्ट 2 years because of COVID, 100 million people have gone below poverty line. They were above poverty line earlier, and they have gone below poverty line. What is this happening on economy in the country? And nobody is questioning this. Unfortunately, our opposition is so weak. They have no issues to talk about. Whether Rahul Gandhi does Bharat Jodo or whatever, question the economy. 2016 onwards, the economy is going down. It is now 6 years. Last 6 years it has gone down, and we have not had any explanation from the government. So this is the issue people are going to ask in 2024. People are being pinched. People are being affected. Middle class is being crushed. The poor people is eliminated. If that is so, unfortunately, if the opposition was strong, perhaps this government would have been wiped out in 2024 or every election. But unfortunately, they are succeeding election after election, and this is why they are brazen enough to say that we have done this, we have done that, and we have done that.
Or you need an
Dr. Swamy,
opposition.
आप नहीं समझते कि गरीबी एक बहुत बड़ा इश्यू होना चाहिए?
नहीं, मैं कहता हूँ कि आपने जो अभी बात की थी विपक्ष के बारे, मैं कहता हूँ कि फिर बीजेपी ही पार्टी के अंदर विपक्ष को पैदा करना चाहिए ताकि लोगों को लगे कि भाई
इनफैक्ट देयर शुड बी ए पार्टी। इकोनॉमी का सवाल नहीं है। दूसरा सवाल, अगर हम हिंदुत्व की बात करते हैं तो कितने लोग हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी में जो हिंदुत्व की बात करते हैं? हिंदुत्व के नाम पे 2014 में वो सरकार में आए थे, और मंदिरों के नियंत्रण से लेकर द कंट्रोल ऑफ द टेम्पल इज वन इशू. व्हाट हैज द गवर्नमेंट डन on the issue of Hindutva? So there should be a party separate from BJP, which may be born out of BJP issues which BJP had taken in 2014. Those issues should be addressed, including the going down economy.
No, in Britain, for example, before the World War II, Churchill became the opposition, because the Labour was, in no position to oppose. So therefore, his own party, Conservative Party, the Chamberlain was the Prime Minister, but Churchill continuously kept hammering, Hitler is a danger, Hitler is a danger, and ultimately that is what saved Britain. So I think, we should not hesitate when we find the policies of the government, because the party is not the government. Party is a separate identity. And so in the party, if somebody raises this issue, it should be received in a democratic spirit.
सर, दो छोटे छोटे इश्यू और मैं उठाना चाहता हूँ. पहली बात, मैंने जब गरीबी की बात की तो दूसरी तरफ हो क्या रहा है? देयर इज सो मच डिफरेंस. अडानी की जो कंपनियां हैं, पिछले 2-3 साल के अंदर, अगर हम 10 साल का हिसाब लगाएं तो और ज्यादा हो जाएगा, सिर्फ पिछले 2-3 साल के अंदर उनकी नेटवर्थ डबल हो गई. इज बिकम सेकंड richest person in the world. Government should issue a white paper only on Adani, that how much loans and advances by the government banks and the private banks have been given in last 3 years to Adani or Adani companies. That will open the eyes of the people. ये हो क्या रहा है? ये सरकार अडानी चला रहे हैं या अडानी को सरकार चला रही है? So this is so much favoritism. एक तरफ आपका, तो जब कोई लोग ये बोलते हैं कि 2 लोग सरकार चला रहे हैं, 2 लोग देश को बेच रहे हैं, 2 लोग देश को खरीद रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं लगता इन आरोपों में कोई भी झूठ है. यही हो रहा है. मैंने एक का नाम लिया, दूसरे का नाम लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, सबको पता है. दूसरा सवाल जो मैं छोटा सा उठाना चाहता हूं बिफोर वी कंक्लूड द प्रोग्राम और गेट टू गोपी एंड श्री अय्यर आल्सो, That is how much government is spending on advertising. There was a question by Badruddin Tayyabji or Assam MP in Parliament, and Anurag Thakur replied in saying that 1700 crores has been spent by government on advertising alone. तो ये गवर्नमेंट, अब आप केजरीवाल को दोष देते हो कि केजरीवाल ये भी करता है, केजरीवाल वो करता है. अरे 1700 crores in 3 years per day to more than 2 crores. That is only on advertising. So irrespective of achievement of the government, this government is only a publicity government and not doing anything worthwhile for the poor of the people, common man of the people, middle class of the country.
Dr. Swamy, quick question. This,
Yes.
whatever the public sector banks, they give loans out of the deposits of the people, right? So why can't they disclose? Is there a law? Is there a rule that prevents them from disclosing how much loan they've given to Adani group of companies? One, and what are the NPS? Why is that a secret?
Yes, they should
Why is that a
declare
secret?
it.
As you know that the Supreme Court has looked at my petition favorably and issued notice to the CBI as to why these lists of those who get loans and are not being disclosed by the Reserve Bank. So don't worry, one day or the other we will get it.
No, is there a law? I mean, is there anything that says
There's nothing wrong. They say write a PTI, RTI, and they will say, no, this is barred by section so and so, and then you go on fighting that forever.
Gopi, you want to say something?
Yeah. As far as you said, banks are not talking. There is a Supreme Court case earlier, and Supreme Court said that give us your NPA data. So they were forced to give it. These are all during Raghuram Rajan's tenure. They were forced to give it in sealed cover, saying that it's a customer bank and its customers' fiduciary relations, and the bank will not bash a business privacy. They will not say. And people are talking about NPA. Banks will only tell you willful defaulters list, which is an open list. Right. Willful defaulter is a bank files a case against you in court. It is open in online. Willful defaulter. Bank will never say about what is the actual NPA. Dr. Swamy has tweeted about Adani's NPA as a trapesium player. And as far as Adani is concerned, most of the FDI he was brought through his Mauritius companies to his own companies, and all these 60,000 crore came during when country was in lockdown.
Sree, you want to say something? Go ahead, Sree.
Yes, couple of things. One is that as far as GST is concerned, I'm in a bit of disagreement with Dr. Swamy. I think the GST should stay for the simple reason that a lot of money and time has been spent in automating GST, the way this is being taken from different people. There are many people who are ducking even paying GST. It's kind of made it a little bit more predictable as far as government is concerned in terms of what kind of tax revenues they can get. There are lots of bugs in them. We were one of the first ones to highlight it. GSTN, the ownership, the CBEC challenges, all that stuff that happened. But I think GST should continue because between Aadhaar and GST, despite all their challenges, Dr. Swamy, these two have a fair amount of computational value that India can use to do other things. I'll give you an example of what other things are. Now, there is a law that ties that your Aadhaar card has to be tied with your voter ID. When they started implementing it in Kerala, they found 3.13 lakh fake voter ID cards. Similarly, CAA, they may not be rules today, but what I'm hearing is it used to be only 2 district collectors who could give provisional citizenship certificates to migrants, if the case is correct. These were, I think, Jodhpur and Jaipur in Rajasthan. That's how all the people are coming in from the Hindus, from Sindh, the Ahirs, the Bhils, the Kolhis. Their poor guys are so poor that they couldn't even afford to move when partition happened. And now they are coming somehow. People are actually, volunteers are giving money to them so that they can take that money and go with their papers to the consulate in Karachi or in Rawalpindi and submit the papers, and then they can come across. So my point in saying this is now I'm hearing there are 30 district collectors who have been given similar powers to issue provisional citizenship. There's a 1-year limitation. The person cannot leave that particular state for 1 year, but they want to make sure that there is no intelligence fallout because of. All I am saying is that we can say that we can find fault with the Modi government, but the amount of challenges that are there just to run this thing from morning till evening, just making sure that somebody who wants to go to work can go to work safely and come back. This itself is becoming a challenge. And that is why I keep saying you have a problem in your hands. Solve that first. Don't keep on going around and trying to just have indefinite trials for everybody.
Sree, one thing, I mean, I know Dr. Swamy did mention about his GST, but in our economic Gyan Ganga, we have detailed this. Essentially, what he says, Dr. Swamy, you can correct me. He says the idea of GST was to have a one tax, simpler system, but you don't have a system that can implement this properly. It has still got bugs, even after 8 years after it going live. You still don't have it running properly. It is a shame. And plus, you keep on changing and tweaking this GST, and you have not actually brought everything under GST. Why not petroleum and gas is not underlay? So many of the other items. If you are saying one nation, one tax, don't be a hypocrite and say, okay, it's why don't you say, oh, this cannot be a part of this? What Dr. Swamy has always been saying, if you go back on our economic Gyan, we had a very session on this GST was very simple. When you say GST, if you have one nation, one tax, do it properly. Otherwise, get rid of it. What's the point? Right? Sorry, Gopi, you wanted to say something, and then we will conclude with Arvindji.
This GST is basically, I think Dr. Swamy is well aware, it is started from this communist ideas, some 80s, it came. And up to 2011, Asim Das Gupta, West Bengal finance minister, was the chairman of the GST. And I don't know, as far as GST and as far as Aadhaar also, BJP was dead against Aadhaar. You remember? BJP
I remember. May I add to your point, saying that Modi as chief minister said, I has never implemented it in Gujarat.
Yeah. Aadhaar and GST, BJP was dead against. But the same BJP simply, I think there is some other, I may say US forces or somebody must be controlling the government, this government also in this case. Because GST and Aadhaar were always objected by BJP. And Anand Kumar, who fought against Nandan Nilekani, said that when our government came, we will put it in the sea, this Aadhaar. And Aadhaar was actually implemented in an illegal way by UPA government without a law. And as far as election thing and other thing, Aadhaar is a good thing. Government can check. But now the Supreme Court has made it very clear. In election also, you cannot implement Aadhaar. You cannot deny anything. But if you go for a government subsidy, you should have Aadhaar. Because government wanted to. Only for that thing only, Supreme Court has clearly. Election, it is not mandatory, but those who want it. And in Indian election, basically, duplicate comes. Basically, a girl in a house, she became 18, she became a voter. And her marriage must be in 25 or something. So when she goes to married home, there also she becomes voter, and she is not cancelling here. So these earlier also election commission will do normally home to home checking is there. I will tell in a home to home checking, Kerala election has cut down my vote in Kerala when I landed in Delhi. 2009, 2008 I landed. 2009 election when I landed to vote in Kerala, my name was not found. So the rules are there, and Aadhaar is fine. There is somewhere it is there, but as this coming to this government GST, they were dead against, and all of a sudden they opted Sabke Saath, Sabke Vishwas. I always have a doubt on that Sabke Saath, Sabke Vishwas with whom? Yes, Sabka Kon is Modi government is always a doubtful.
Okay, Sree.
Yeah,
sorry, Dr. Swamy, we just have a few more minutes. We'll
I have a question before this August panel. when the China challenge became a reality, like in 2020 onwards, India has been constructing roads at a furious pace along the border. Was this money budgeted? My answer
Yes.
is no. I don't think it was. So where did the government get the money for that?
No, but it must be budgeted.
How? How? You
I
didn't
think
know
Dr.
that they were
Swamy-
going to do it? No.
I think
no?
Dr. Swamy can answer that. Even
No, no,
intelligence.
every government has money which is not come through the budgetary process. It's not a very large amount. So I think whatever is spent, I think was capable of being produced from a fund which every government has. For example, when they bribe somebody in some other country, that cannot come through the budget.
Yeah.
It
Intelligence
cannot be.
bureaus, secret
Huh?
funds, IB secret funds.
They have that.
So
So I am sure that if we did a probe, you will find that the government has used that special fund.
And the reason I brought that up is that
I
having
tell
something
you
like
because
GST
I-
gives you some idea.
Uh-huh. Well, I was when Chandrasekhar was prime minister. We were in a very very tight situation, and of course later on, Yashwant Sinha went and mortgaged the gold, which was a dastardly thing to do because it was not decided by the cabinet. It was decided by Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and there are lots of stories around that. But anyway, when it came to when we came to power, we had this issue, and we were about to default on payments of imports. At that time, we did use this money.
Okay, Dr. Swamy, quick thing before we conclude. I mean, one comment from one of our viewers saying that income is also taxed and expenditure is as well through GST. Health insurance premium, hospital bills
Income
are
tax
taxed.
has to be abolished. Personal income tax has to be abolished.
No, Sree, the
question.
thing is,
It's
when you
very
said about
unfair.
GST, right, it's not fairly put. Like, for example, every other professional fees is fine, but not the lawyer advocate fees. Is this nonsensical, the way they've
No,
implemented this?
I agree with you about GST not being applied on liquor as well as petroleum. I think what had happened was, like when they were trying to get some consensus, all the state governments who basically are running deficit budgets, they said that if we bring this under 28%, which was the maximum slab that they are all agreed to, that basically we are going to go bankrupt. And then they said, okay, fine.
That is
And
exactly
this
what Dr. Swamy said. Why 28? Why is this nonsensical number 28%?
Look,
We started
India
off
is
with
a
14.
syncretic. Listen. India
Well,
is a
this
syncretic
is
country.
very big
No
topic.
two people will agree on
Yeah,
anything.
well, I think we got, okay, Sree, I think he's
We
doing
have
another.
there should be a debate between Sree Iyer and people like myself on this question: is GST legitimate or not? And I don't think this is an ending. I'll say that we don't have the staff to replace the state government staff for collecting sales tax or excise tax, income indirect taxes. And there are a lot of problems. I don't want to get into this because if I contradict Sree Iyer, then Sree Iyer will have another argument again. So it will take a long time. Let's have a special session.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Arvindji, yeah. Mhm.
But today, I don't think we are already long past the time of 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I think if you all agree, we should.
Yeah, we'll close. Arvindji, please conclude.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. As you had said in the beginning, the time is not sufficient to discuss all the issues which BJP should take to the people or issues BJP should address before 2024 elections. And we concentrated more today on economy, but even economy is not complete. Maybe we'll have further sessions. एक जो issue रह गया है, even I wanted to raise this issue, but time is short. I'll not raise it today. Maybe some other time. FDI जो हमारे यहाँ आ रहा है, गवर्नमेंट बहुत क्लेम कर रही है, बहुत अच्छा FDI आ रहा है, बट वो FDI जा कहाँ रहा है, किन क्षेत्रों में निवेश हो रहा है, क्या उससे कोई गरीबी की रेखा के नीचे जो रह रहे हैं या मध्यम वर्ग है उनको कोई फायदा हो रहा है क्या? दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इशू and I think government should have a policy on FDI. We'll discuss in some other episode, especially when we talk more on economy. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. श्री अय्यर जी, आपने बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे उठाए, and maybe on GST we'll have some other day, some other debate. And thank you, Gopikrishnan ji. Dr. Swamy said he is Sherlock Holmes, and he also said he is James Bond. I think he's more than James Bond and Sherlock Holmes put together. Gopi has been always an asset for our discussion, and he brings always a new information, and he is actually the mine of information. The kind of information he stores is really mind-boggling. Thank you, Gopi. Thank you, Ramesh. Next Sunday, Dr. Swamy will be traveling, and due to logistic reasons, next Sunday episode we will not have. Therefore, the next episode, 178th episode that we'll have, will be on 4th of December. This is information to the viewers. Thank you, viewers, for supporting us. Thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair. We will be meeting again on 4th of December in an episode which will bring a fresh topic, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, and maybe some guests. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.